Hey there, mountain dreamers. This is the second video about short-term rental landlord ownership. So you've been thinking about purchasing a condo or a home in a resort community, and you want to be able to use it for vacation, but you also want to rent it out when you're not here. And that's today what I want to talk to you about is how do you hire a property manager? What types of intelligent questions should you ask? Stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss it. Okay, as always, before I get started, make sure you click the like button, make sure you subscribe so that you can get some awesome content every week. I can help you come to the mountains and help you enjoy yourself and make sure you do it in a wise, intelligent, financially responsible way. Okay, so in the video before, when I talked about the things to consider when being a short-term rental landlord, meaning you own a vacation home that you use, but then you rent it out to other vacationers when you're not here. In that last one, I told you the biggest consideration is really the guest experience. And when I'm talking about guest experience, I'm talking about from the minute that they book with you to the minute that they check out and leave you a review. Because I think if you're going to be smart about it, you want them to come back year over year. Wouldn't it be great if you had just a group of like, I don't know, 20 people that you knew every year were gonna come back and rent your place during ski season? You'd have the same 20 groups coming back every year. That's the ideal, because then it's good for them and it's good for you. But really this guest experience thing, I'm telling you, it's about the cutlery, it's about the linens, it's about the way the place smells, it's about the way that the view is, it's about the mini blinds, it's about the food that you have there, if you've got coffee or tea, just all different kinds of things. You know all of this already. You've probably already stayed in a fair share of your own Airbnbs and VRBOs and vacation rentals from someone who owns it and then they're just managing it online. The issue, and I talked about it in the other video, I'm just going to touch on it now. The reason that you might need a professional property manager in our area is because you could be a marketing genius. You could book your own calendar all day long, but what's going to happen when you have an emergency or you have your tenants breaking the rules? So what happens when the toilet floods? What happens when your housekeeper doesn't show up and there's a new guest checking in? What happens when your guests are there and there's too many of them? You've got a 2-bedroom condo and there's 20 people in it. Or they left the trash out and the bears tore it up. Or they're parking on the street and they're blocking your neighbors. Or worse, they're blocking the firemen or they're blocking the snow plows. These are all things that happen where we are. We had to create a brand new telephone system with a non-emergency number for those types of complaints to be handled instead of the police showing up when there's something going wrong at your vacation rental. So we know that we have a lot of people who want to do this hybrid property management model where they want to have their own marketing schedule, their own online presence, but they need to have what I call boots on the ground. We have property managers that will help you with that. They will do this hybrid model where they allow you to manage your online presence, and then they're here for those emergency and non-emergency type things. There are also property managers who will do everything from start to finish, and that's what I want to talk to you about today, is basically what questions do you ask these people when you're calling them? How do you interview them? How do you know they're a good match? And how do you make sure that they're going to do what they say that they're doing? Now listen, we are only in sales here at the Mountain Dream Team. We are not property managers. And property managers in Colorado are as plentiful as there are condo associations, meaning there's just a ton of property managers, and especially now while the market is hot and things are booming, we've got a lot of new property managers coming in to our area. So while we can send you the people that we think would benefit you and help you the best, we can't guarantee the work that they're gonna do, okay? We cannot guarantee any of these people that we're sending to you. We have good relationships with them. We know who's who. We know who's been here the longest. We know the types of fees that they may or may not charge. But all these things are always changing. We could get a new manager in one of those property management companies and not even know if that manager is going to do something and not even know about it until something's gone wrong. So we want to empower you to take control of your property management decisions and ask these questions. So the first thing you're going to ask them is for what's called a prospectus or a projection or an estimate of how many days they think they can rent your unit for you and what the charges are. And these are very detailed reports that you should request. And what I mean by detailed is right down to the exact week of the rates they are quoting you. So if you have a condo on the slopes in Breckenridge, you should be asking them, what's the nightly rate during the weeks of Christmas and New Year's? What's the nightly rate during March, which is spring break? Those are our big high seasons. Those are our big rental rate seasons. And then ask them for their breakdown during summer. And then you can do shoulder season or mud season, so April and September, when the resorts are closed and before we have a nice summer. So you should be getting a very detailed report on this rental projection of how much money they think they can charge on the nightly basis during specific weeks and months. The other question to ask is, how many similar properties do you manage? So again, there's so many condo complexes just in Summit County alone. I can't even begin to imagine. I would say at least 200, probably even 500 or more different types of complexes, and each has their own amenities, each has their own locations, their own rules for bus service, free buses, not free buses. So you need to ask that property manager, how many units that are similar to mine do you manage? And so obviously it's important to hire someone that's familiar with your particular unit so that they can get you the most money and take care of you the best. With that being said, the best property managers are specializing in one thing or another. So we have property managers that we would refer you to that only do high-end, large homes. That's all they do. Some of them only do them in Breckenridge. Some of them only do them in Silverthorne or Keystone. So just make sure you're picking a property manager that is specializing in the type of unit or property that you are planning to purchase. You also need to ask about their marketing plans. So Vail Resorts, for a long time, and again, this could change, Vail Resorts, who owns Breckenridge and Keystone, two of the places in our area, and they obviously own Vail and Vail, they have what's called the Olympic medal system. And they also have a tiered system with their marketing levels. So for example, if someone from the general public calls Vail Resorts and asks to find a property in Keystone, the person on the phone is going to ask what the budget is, when they're coming to visit, all of those things. And then they're going to match the guest up with the perfect property. Vail Resorts has different marketing levels with different units, and then their buildings are in a tiered system. So for example, the Timbers building, which is a condo building on the slope ski in, ski out of Keystone, that's going to be one of their highest tiered buildings. But if we go farther from the slopes, then the tier levels go down, and therefore the rates will go down. So they're rating their buildings based on amenities, based on proximity to the slopes, and they're also marketing them differently. The other thing that they're doing with the Olympic medal system is they're saying, what is the condition of your unit? So if you have a unit that has the highest end appliances, the best granite or stone in the kitchen, you've done a good job with all of your cutlery and your linens and your televisions and all of that, you're going to be a platinum level unit. But if they go in and they say, well, you haven't done any updating in this unit for the last 20 years, we're going to have to put you at the bronze level, and we're going to market that accordingly, and we're going to charge accordingly. So when you're calling the property manager, you need to ask them specifically, what are your marketing levels? How would you rate my unit? And if they ask you what that means, give them the examples that I just gave you. Say, hey, you know, I've got a high-end unit. We've got the best of everything, the best appliances, the best cutlery. We've just updated the unit to today's standard with all the, you know, with all the lighting fixtures and doorknobs and design. What's your marketing plan going to be for me there? Or be honest with them and say, you know what? I just bought an older unit. I want to rent it out this summer. Let me know what you can do. We're going to remodel it this winter and put it back on at a higher level of finishes. The next question to ask your property manager, if it's not already in the proposal that they gave you, is if they charge extra for maintenance fees. So sometimes the property managers will say, oh yeah, we're gonna just charge you, I don't know, 40% of everything that you make, and that's it. We're on a 60-40 split with you. But then you get the bill and you've got all these extra little tiny little maintenance fees or a service fee or, you know, whatever pass-through fees that they want to try to add in there. Be smart, ask them, what are your extra fees on top of the percentages that you're quoting me? And be even smarter and ask them to send you an example bill and an example income statement from some of their other clients. Another question to ask them is, what's their policy when you find the renters? Are they going to charge you for that, or are they going to give you a little bit of extra money? So if you're doing a lot of the legwork and you're finding them some renters, they shouldn't be charging you as much as normal per se. Make sure you ask for that. Make sure it's in the contract that you sign, if that's important to you. Now the next one is a biggie. It's a huge surprise for some people, and quite frankly, it has pissed off a lot of my sales clients. So you need to ask this before you hire a property manager. And that is, do they require manager or maintenance nights? So what that means is, a lot of property managers will charge you, the landlord, a nightly rate for them to go stay in your property and to do maintenance. So let's say, for example, it's April or September, which is when a lot of the maintenance goes on, and they send somebody over to do work, or they send someone over to just go through the guest experience. They're gonna charge you that nightly rate for them doing their job. Everyone handles this differently. Everyone has an opinion about it. Sometimes I've been told it's industry standard. You just need to ask that question, and you need to do what you think is right for your situation and do what you think is fair with the property manager. But again, that's another one that'll sneak up on you if you're not careful. And if you're signing that contract, they kind of have every right to do that. It's called just a manager night or a property manager night, or a service fee or something. Just make sure you ask about that. So these next two questions are kind of similar. I kind of already hinted on them. Ask them for their averages of the last 5 years of your particular type of unit or property. This is going to tell you a lot. Number one, it's going to tell you if they've been in the area for 5 years. Number two, it's going to show you the increase or decrease in rates that they've experienced. Now, as I'm recording this in the year 2021, we've just seen rental rates go up and up and up the last 5 years. But if for some reason we have some sort of recession, then you'll see the rates go down. You need to see that 5-year historical average. It's important for you to plan. And I think it's also, like I said, going to give you an idea of how well this property manager has been doing in the last 5 years. With that being said, they should also be able to show you their historical lows, middles, and highs during those seasons that we talked about. A pro tip when it comes to seasonal rentals that I can offer you is to tell your property manager that you want to rent your place out for 1 whole month in the summer to one person or to one party. This guarantees you that income. There's less wear and tear on the place. And if it's something that makes you feel good about peace of mind for getting that income for the summer months, we've got a ton of folks that come out to escape the heat, and all they want to do is ride their bike all summer. They want to go boating on the lake. They want to go hiking where it's nice and cool. But they want to be here for a whole month. but they don't want to pay those crazy nightly rates. So that's a pro tip for your seasonal income. Ask your property manager if they would accommodate that, if that's something that you want to do. The other thing you need to ask your property manager is, what is their policy and procedure for emergencies? And again, we talked about this. Your property manager should be so dialed in to that non-emergency number that the county has implemented. And they should be so dialed in with those taxes and insurance fees and all the stuff that you have to carry. And who are they going to pay it to? They've got to pay it to the county. They have to pay it to the resort. They have to pay it to the town. Ask policies and procedures when it comes to emergencies, as well as taxes and fees to our governmental entities. Make sure you get it in writing, and make sure they talk to you about that non-emergency telephone number and who's going to cover you in the middle of the night or if there's some crazy disaster. With that, you should also be asking about their insurance. So what type of insurance policy do they have? Is everyone in their company that walks into your unit licensed, bonded, insured? You need to be sure that you're not creating a problem where there's a person who's going into your unit that's going to be interacting with your guests that causes some sort of liability issue. Make sure you ask for that policy. Make sure that it is also something that is doubled up on your owner's policy with your own insurance company. The last thing that you want to do is have somebody come in after your cash flow for something that your property manager did wrong. That's all I have for you. Make sure you ask all those questions of a property manager. Don't let all of these things scare you. We have a ton of wonderful professional property managers. This is what we do all day, every day. Our resort runs on it. Our economy runs on it. We sell the properties, we hand them over to our property managers, and then when it's time for you to sell your place and get a bigger, more beautiful place, or go move to Hawaii or something, then those property managers call us and we help you sell your place again. So don't be afraid of all these things that I've told you about. Just make sure you're smart and you're asking the right questions. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.